With another episode of Motivational Shit Podcast. Let's get it. Hey, man, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to the vibe. Yale Entertainment, Motivational Shit Podcast. You know, we got my man, Director Huey G, Made Solid TV.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, what's going on? What's going on?
I don't like the way Wayne came on.
We gonna do it over?
Yeah, it was too mellow for me.
Oh man,
he usually get me going. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah. Wow, shade.
Yeah.
Oh man.
See what happened when he came back from California? Boo?
I see.
You see that? I think it's a California thing, man. That thing did it.
Yeah, man. Like, yo, man, since you done sold your soul to Suge, man,
he think
you big time now, bro.
Yeah, he rolling now. He's trying to slick say he's too big for you.
Yeah.
Hollywood, they're a little more energetic.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
They said, "Let's get it." They said it loud.
Okay.
Yeah.
So something like, "Let's get it."
Yes.
All right. Something like that. Okay. Yo, man. We also got Dylan Yale from the Mail Review.
Yes.
That's going to be accompanying us today.
Yes. Thank you. Hey, Wayne, I don't know why you keep on doing this to yourself, bro. I don't do good on your show, man. I'm not the best person for motivation, but there are times.
Yeah,
and I will say today's a time. I sent you that clip of my mom.
Yeah. That was highly motivational.
Today is the 21st anniversary of my mom's passing. So I am in a good space, knowing what she created in me. Okay. Some people might say she's disappointed. Some people might say, I know what he is. I did that. I did that.
Hey. And yo, with us today, with no further ado, we have the master, we have the legend, we have the guy that has been working his butt off with spreading knowledge of mental health, man. We have Mr. Sean Garvey, man.
All right,
hey,
man.
Did
you just say I'm the master, the legend, the myth?
Yeah.
Wow. Those accolades right there. But I appreciate it. Thank you for having me come into the studio, man. I'm loving the background, the backdrop, the environment. Yeah.
Well, hey, the reason I said that with everything that you have did with your whole credentials, your whole resume, everything that you have accomplished, you deserve that title, brother. You deserve that title, man. And plus, of course, you're destined for greatness. Of course, you're destined for greatness. Your last name is Garvey. Shout out to Marcus Garvey.
Right.
Yeah.
Last name?
That's my actual birth name is Sean Anthony Garvin. Williams was left out of my birth certificate because that's my mother's last name.
Come on, yo. We can't leave out Williams.
Okay. I am. Yeah.
Okay.
I am a Williams. I am a Garvin and a Williams. Yeah. So, but people know me as Sean Garvey, aka the Architect, aka the Black. What is it called? The Black. Well, I got my Superman coat on and everything. Black Don Juan DeMarco. That's what I'm looking for. The Black Don Juan DeMarco.
Don Juan DeMarco.
Don Juan DeMarco.
Yeah.
So, y'all definitely want to make sure y'all subscribe to the vibe, man, because today, Mr. Sean Garvey, he over at the amazing things that he's doing. He has a whole podcast dedicated to mental health called The Mental Space.
Yeah. Radio show. The Mental Space. WAOK 1380 AM, sister station at V103. Shout outs to the team there at Odyssey. We've been going at it for almost 2 years now.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
And
congratulations on that, brother.
Thank you.
So, I want us to get to with everything dealing with mental health. Mental health, it's a popping topic now. Everybody's talking about it. About time, finally. But, it took the world forever to really acknowledge that. You know, back in the day, if you said, "Oh, I'm dealing with mental health issues," and you tell your job that, they'd be like, "I still need you to come to work."
Yeah,
that's me. I'm that guy.
Oh.
I'm that guy.
He's-
I am.
he's-
I am. I am on that guy.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
yeah, he is that guy.
I'm
He been
look,
saying
look. Okay, before we go in there, I am a veteran from the military, and this is where we're going to go into the topic, right? Because one of the first things that they taught us, keep in mind, I'm 18 years old, I'm moldable, you know, and they throw you into war, but before they prepare you that, they teach you a mindset of suck it up and drive on.
Gotcha.
Some people it works for, some people it doesn't. So we could talk about that balance of that. You know, so I definitely don't think that everybody could turn a switch. I do know that. So that's where we can discuss the differences of how some people may handle it and how other people may handle it.
For sure.
yeah.
Sean,
Yeah.
from your personal experience, what's your perspective of what Dylan just said?
As far as turning it on, and turning it off.
Yes.
Or handling it, and it's not for everybody. Just like any job ain't for everybody. Anything you can't put. Some people crumble up under the pressures of the environment that they're raised in, right?
Yeah.
Some people crumble up under the pressures of relationships. Some people crumble up under the pressures of parenthood.
Right.
You know, so I think that society has a belief that everybody, or some people, I would say that some people, I have some friends that think that everybody should be able to just and just grit their teeth and put their head down and go. I don't think like that. I could say that much.
Well, I'll say this, and I'm just speaking from my experience. I won't speak for everybody, but from my experience, it's like, I was ingrained to just suck it up and just go about your day like nothing did not happen yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially as a man, because of the masculinity that comes along with it. And having to be told that, Sean, there's other people out there that are going through a lot more worse than you are. But everybody, whether you got $1 million in your checking account or whether you don't have no money in your checking account, everybody's going through something. And I think that conversations like these and what we're about to get into is the reason why there has to be a level of understanding. There has to be a level of understanding, especially in the Black men community, to really let people, the audience, your audience, know that mental health is still an important topic to touch on.
Definitely.
Huey, brother, man. Yo, man, you growing up in the Black community in Atlanta, brother.
How you know I grew up in the Black community? I could have grew up in the other.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
No, I am from the Black community. Yeah.
You know what? I think Dylan do care. He act like he don't, but I think he don't like when people use it for in his head as an excuse. I think that's what he's trying to say. When they think he's trying to pull one over them, like they really not going through nothing, and they try to say, "Hey, I need mental health day. I can't make it." And I think that he think everybody full of BS.
I don't think everybody.
Well, you think I am? But
I don't think everybody.
I think you don't like when people using it for. You like when it's genuine, if it's maybe.
I gotta
zero tolerance on.
I gotta address this carefully, right?
Yeah.
And TR has said this. You know, he's not a fan of that at all. But what has happened is everybody has used everything and anxiety. Everybody has used everything and said, I saw a commercial, and in the commercial on YouTube, it said, it's okay to not be okay. I don't think it's okay to not be okay. I think not being okay is a problem, because what it's doing is saying, hey, have a problem, but none of these problems, we never discussed the resolution. Right. So without that part of discussing how do you get past it? It allows everybody to say, I'm having a bad day. And that's it. Because if we're going to use, I'm having a bad day, or I'm having a problem, I'm depressed, and there's no help, now everybody sees what Hugh is going through. Everybody sees what Wayne is going through, and everybody sees what Sean is generally going through. And saying, you know what? Yeah, I'm having a problem with that too. Yeah. And they're using it for attention. Some people. And it's become a trendy thing that everybody's diving into. That's what I'm trying to say. It's turned trendy.
It is.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm trying to say. It's turning trendy.
Yeah.
Because, like everybody is now, and the thing is, whether you have a diagnosis or not, everybody deals with a little bit of anxiety regarding in any situation. Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, I was dealing with anxiety with driving. I was dealing with anxiety with just parenting and holding a relationship earlier this morning. Like, it stressed me out. You know what I'm saying, man? I was dealing with a woman that was complaining about bottles and juicing and stuff like that. And, I'm like, yo, I got to drop off my daughter. I got to get here. I got to do some work, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So I was dealing with some anxiety and stress just with that. I mean, it's a normal thing that we all deal with. The thing is, when it comes to the black male, more light is being shined upon us dealing with mental health. But we need to make that light even brighter.
There you go.
We need to make that light even brighter with dealing with all the challenges and struggles that we deal with. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, just like my brother Huey here, man. How was your anxiety, man, when you was like showcasing and just going through your trials and tribulations in your life, brother? Like, when was a time when you were stressed recently this week?
What was the question? How do I deal with it? Or
Yeah. Well, just what happened, what happened? Did you deal with a stressful time, and how did you deal with it? How did you manage it?
I keep daily stresses when doing a lot of stuff, especially you working, if you relationships, kids, anything. It's always gonna be some daily struggles. With me, I just learned to deep breath, man. I don't let too much stuff pile up, and that's what a lot of people do. What I used to do, let stuff pile up, and when it get to a certain point, kind of explode. So now I just deal with stuff, each one, let it, deal with it, let it go. Deal with the next thing, that's done. Go to the next one. I'm not trying to deal with everything at one time. That's when it gets all that pressure, So to me, I just deal with everything day by day, time by time, and that's just how I do it now. That's what helps me.
Sean, man, what about you, brother?
Well, for me, is journaling, is taking my journal or diary or whatever you want to call it, taking it with me and just jotting down whatever comes to my mind. So outside of me being a host for the mental space and producing, whether it's producing the mental space and with my other producer Simone and producing other shows in that arena, I am also a writer. And with us as artists and with us as writers, we are so creative in a space, in a time where we could be dealing with a lot of stuff. We could be dealing with a lot of challenges and adversities and stuff like that. And when you are in that space, things come to your mind like, I got to write this down on a piece of paper. I got to write this down in my notebook. And so that's what it does for me, and also putting myself in even more in a creative space to listening to jazz and listening to something that's going to motivate me to be a better artist and to be more creative in whatever I'm curating and producing at that time. So that always helps me with my anxiety or whatever I'm going through mentally, So it's from a place of creativity.
from a place of creativity.
Well, that's what he said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just
Absolutely.
to pick it back off that. Normally, when I write poems or write music or write film and stuff, it always comes from like stuff that happened, events, a lot of stressful stuff. I can turn it into that. So I do like what he said about that. Like even the songs I got, the ones right, it was me going through. So that was just so me. I feel good. That's how I release it and get it out. So I'm with him on that.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. From the place of creativity, man. Speaking of that, like for myself, like what helped me calm down, man. But just listen to that Andre 3000 album, bro. Like, man, that man. I was playing that Saturday when I was driving my daughter, and I just started crying. And because it was like, man, I've been through so much challenges, so much adversity, man. Like I've been through so much shit, and now I'm at the point of seeing my dream manifest, like seeing my dream come true. So it was tears of happiness, man. Like I needed those sounds, that frequency to get it out of me, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was very therapeutic, man. So just like the power of music and creativity, bro. Like I feel y'all with that, man. Like that's some, that album, the journaling, the songs, the arts, man. The arts always is tied to healing and just on some motivational shit. I mean, just to be honest, and that's the power in it, man.
Yeah. But 3000, only thing he needed was a flute.
That's it.
That's it. The flute said it.
Exactly.
And apparently he's streaming. He got a lot of streams just with no words. So a lot of streams. A lot of people like, wow, he had his album over people album with words. People like, how he streaming more than us.
Do you think it was the trend of that, or was it need for that?
It was a need for that. Yeah, it was a need for that album. With everything going on in this world,
I do think it was a bit of a need for that.
Yeah.
Especially in the hip hop space,
All right.
where we needed a anti-sexy red moment.
Yeah. Anti-sexy red.
You do that really good.
I know. Like, yo, I need to shoot her a DM. Maybe I could do an ad lib. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
You should put your ad lib with her together. Let's get it and ski. Put it together.
Ski. Let's get it.
Let's ski. No.
We don't need the let's ski.
Talk about the creativity, man. Yeah.
Oh man, but definitely like with everything going on mental health, man, I want us to shift our conversation and like let's analyze the history of it. Because mental health started in some darkness. If we could go ahead and get that clip of Rizza Islam, shout outs to Rizza Islam, sharing that information, man. Like, yo, man, when I watch this clip, man, and hey, I just let y'all see it.
So let's go down to a man by the name of Benjamin Rush, known as the father of American psychiatry. Benjamin Rush said black people have a mental disease called negritude. It causes their skin to be dark. It is a form of leprosy. And it is what makes them inferior to us, and it also makes them sick. So we need to be separated or segregated from them. Did you know that there's a psychiatrist by the name of Samuel Cartwright? This white man said that slaves who want to run away from slavery have a mental disease called drapetomania. Yo, I can't want to run away from slavery because that makes me crazy? Damn! What was his solution? They called it, quote, whipping the devil out of them. Reason, wait a minute. Why you want to run away? You got a devil in you. Whip the devil out of him. This is a foundation in the history of psychiatry and really the field of mental health. This science, this is you.
Viewers and to your listening audience, first and foremost, I am a mental health advocate. I'm not in the field of being a psychiatrist and licensed coach, life coach, and therapist, and etc. I do work alongside with people that are currently active in that profession, and I brought in so many people in that field onto my show over the past going on 2 years. So I want to make that disclaimer before going any further that I am only a mental health advocate and I provide information when needed. to RZA, which I'm very familiar with. He's a public figure who can be controversial at times. I found out about him on social media a while back. And I look at it like this. I am a student when it comes to learning the history of mental health and mental illness. Like, where did it come from exactly? Who coined the term mental health? And everything in between. So I'm not here to debunk or um be in 100% agreement with RZA. I'm open to it. I'm open to learning more of the facts. Even after this show, is doing more research on his assessment on what happened during that time of slavery, a very horrific thing. Which, by the way, I mean, to kind of coincide with that, you have people today that are still dealing with PTSD, and we're not talking about PTSD in the form of military, but we're talking about post-traumatic slavery disorder. I did an episode on that last year with Dr. Yuri, from Rainbow Coalition, and we talked about it on the air about people in modern times dealing with post-traumatic slavery disorder and how slavery is still a impact to one's mental. It's not a black man's thing. It's not a black woman's thing. It's a black person thing. And it's a very, very big conversation to have in regards to that. But to RZA's assessment, to his point, stating that if you were an escaped slave, that you had a mental issue, and I think it could be not it could be, but something psychological to keep you enslaved for many and many and many and many more years to come. So I thought it was very interesting that RZA brought that point up in his assessment.
Just piggyback from that, like me being in the field as a certified peer specialist and working with a lot of individuals that deal with depression, anxiety, stress, schizophrenia, I could see how, in this mental health field, sometimes it comes to a point where, for lack of better terms, we're babying an individual because they have a mental health issue and not having them take accountability. Because I have had personal sessions with individuals that have some of these diagnoses, and because they're labeled with depression, they give all that strength, that will that they have into that name, and they feel like they're defenseless. They feel like they can't manage it. And that's the same with the schizophrenia and the anxiety. And what ends up happening, one of my gripes just in being in this whole war of mental health is like, we do got to take accountability, and you got to do that regardless if you got a diagnosis or not. And if you are getting therapy, if you are getting coaching, and you have an individual that's giving you coping skills, you have to manage that. Sometimes with some of these individuals, it comes to a point where they're so tied to the therapist or the coach that they calling them every time they deal with the issue, instead of empowering themselves and using their coping skills and managing it and managing it using either the breathing, either the exercise, the journaling, using the redirection, using the positive thinking, all these different type of coping skills. So when I saw that video, when I saw that clip in RZA just talking about it, I could see how mental health, just the label, because you get smacked with a label, boom, you automatically diagnosed with medication. Now, some medications affect people differently. Some of those medications could benefit you. Some of them could cause another issue, So like, that's what I have dealt with personally in this field. So when I watch something like that, I understand and I see what RZA is talking about, and how mental health could be used in the past. It could be weaponized, could be used against our people, could be used against just people general. So, you know, I found it crazy. A slave running away, they got a mental health issue. Something that's, you know, of course, that individual wants to run away. Of course, that individual, that solution was the thing that could help them be free. So that's my whole standpoint on it, man. That's my whole standpoint on that, man. Me just being in this whole war with mental health, you know, it comes with some scars. It's not pretty sometimes, but ultimately, you can't give your power to these labels and to these diagnoses.
I think that's kind of like where I was going, what I was saying earlier about how they have weaponized mental health concerns. These things have been used against us, and corporations say, hey, we care about your mental health, and come see us, and we'll find these resources that you need to get through your problems, and we're going to, as you just said, diagnose you with maybe something you don't even got. Every other person that I have heard in this day and age has been the word, you just used it, anxiety.
Anxiety, yeah.
I've never heard the word anxiety used so much in this day and age, where you go into a doctor's office and say, well, we got pills for that. And I know people in the medical field on the back end, and they tell me, hey, Big Pharma outsources business to these hospitals on consignment and says, hey, if you prescribe this pill to this person, you get a certain percentage of it. So of course, I'm going to tell you, you got something so I could make money off of you. Once again, like I'm saying, they don't even come up with the true resolution to these concerns, but medication. And all I know is I see in the streets is everybody is having problems and they're blaming it on mental health, when maybe that pill that they gave you is causing your mental health concerns.
And two, I want to say it's a lot of natural herbs that you can use.
Yeah.
You know, key point, ashwagandha, not actual ganja.
Oh, actual ganja? Yeah, actual ganja. Shoot. Actual ganja.
But that's a herb that's good for mental clarity, stress reduction, right? Exercise. Your body naturally releases endorphins when you're feeling that. You know, like all these things are natural remedies. And when you take these things and when you implement these coping skills, what you are doing is empowering yourself. You're empowering yourself, you know? So it's, you know, how I look at it when we're dealing with mental health and different individuals are labeled a certain diagnosis, I'm not totally disregarding that, you know, but at the same time, you have the power to manage that. Yes, we have a few cases of some individuals that don't, but majority of people are able to manage that. Yo, I see we got a comment.
Shout out to Wanda Anderson. It is a natural occurrence for the human body to disassociate itself from excruciating and excessive pain. It would be inhuman to not do. It was just another way to justify slavery. True statement.
Okay. Shout out to my mama.
Shout out to Mama Wanda. Mama Wanda. Hey, Miss Wanda, I got to have a conversation with you about this guy here with you. Do you know he has been cloned? He went to LA, and I don't think this is the same guy. Tap back in with us and let us know. You know, just ask him a question. Thank you, though, man.
Definitely. Thank you.
Shout out to her, man. She just graduated from Spelman.
Oh, wow. Outstanding. Yes. Yes.
What do you what I was gonna ask you guys, what do you guys think about social media and mental health?
Man, you read my mind. I was just gonna bring that up. I wanted to excuse me, piggyback on what you said earlier regarding trendy. And part of the reason why I feel it's both trendy and something need to talk about because we have social media now. I come from the 80s and 90s. I'm an 80s baby, a 90s kid. and we didn't talk about mental health much. And obviously, as a kid, I didn't know what mental health was. And I think it's always important when we have conversations centered around mental health and mental illness and everything in between. We got to look at the cause and effect, and where it came from. The people that I brought on my show always tell me their stories of their relationship with their family members, the childhood trauma, and everything that they experienced as a kid growing up. But back then, we didn't have social media. So without social media, we kind of dealt with it on our own. And then, not to mention, of course, church, the Black church. I know that was something you all were probably going to talk about later in the podcast, if not on this episode, then on the next episode. But the church, to some extent, was our social media. If we went to church, we didn't only just go there just to get the word, but we went there to be social with other people that were not in our neighborhood, that we didn't see every day.
Yes,
and that was our social media back then. It was that place where, well, the church that I went to, I won't say the name of the church that I spent the most at during my adolescent, somewhat teenage years, but it was a social place that happened to be on television. And I remember as a kid, like I said, I did not know what mental health was, but I do remember having a form of anxiety every time the camera was on me. As a kid, like, I don't want to be on TV. I don't want to be on TV being at this particular church. But I bring the church into the conversation, of course, because I couldn't get anything as a black man, as a young black man, out of the church. It was like I had to go to church because my mom made me go to church. My mom comes from a spiritual religious background, but I didn't have a black man of that particular stature come to me and talk with me or talk to me. It was more like I see him performing on stage and doing his sermon on a weekly basis, but he doesn't know what I'm going through. He doesn't know what my mom is going through. He doesn't know what we're going through. He is just more so talking at us, So to tie that in with social media, now that we use social media every single day, you see church sermons on social media all the time. And social media really has become a very big impact to so many people. Like, you even got people on social media that think they licensed therapists, and they are not. That's just, and they are not. But it has made a very big impact. Is opened up that Pandora's box to rant, to speak on everything that is that you feel some type of way about. It's a reaction. It's a reaction platform that serves as a machine for algorithms. And the amount of people that go on there and complain or comment and rant and express themselves and getting the reaction from everybody that goes online, goes on social media and reacts to them and stuff, it just turns into a lot of debating, a lot of argument, a lot of unfriending, creating a lot of enemies, and even at times violence. And that has become a hub for a lot of mental issues. So social media, it definitely does play a pivotal role in it, but this is where the accountability comes in. Like, okay, am I going to allow social media to dictate how I present myself, how I should think, how I should move? am I going to let social media ruin my mental well-being just because I see something that I don't like, or I hear somebody say something that triggers me, and I go to this particular machine and comment on what I'm feeling? Like, I just, of course, thank you for bringing that up, because for people that follow me on social media at Sean Garvey and at Sean Garvey ATL on Instagram, I posted something about my recent mental health scare. And I said that I was going to take a break from social media by the last week in December, because we're in the season right now, the holiday season, where people are spending time with their families, spending time with their friends, and dealing with isolation and depression is something that I'm still battling with, because I was used to being around my support system in 2020 or even before 2020. But then when 2020 came, the pandemic came, and a lot of us had to social distance ourselves, to where that even brought out a lot of the truth in who we are. And it cost my relationship with someone that I was deeply, deeply in love with. And it put me in a dark place, and then I found myself going on social media, venting about it. And, I'm still on social media to this day, but I realized that venting about it on social media is not going to end the problem. It's not.
Let me ask you a question. You actually said just a second ago, like, growing up, you didn't want to be on TV. You didn't want to be seen.
I did not want to be seen.
So
That's correct.
how do we go from being that person to being a actual personality in the position that we have? Because I was shy back in the day, so I'm trying to see if we have a relatable moment,
right,
where you say, you know what, I could do this, and you get past that.
Yeah.
How do you transition to scared to be on TV or be seen or be public, to this is what you do and you confident in it?
I think it comes from a level of maturity. It comes from a level of maturity, and also, what environment do I want to be seen in? And I think as a kid, I did not want to be seen in an environment that didn't resonate with me at that time. Because even as a kid, I wanted to be on a lot of the kid shows that came out in the 90s. Wayne, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I wanted to be on this show. I wanted to be on that show. Before I got into radio, I wanted to be a young actor. And I could have been one. That's for another episode. I could have been one because of who I am related to. But it was just at that time where I did not want to be seen in an environment that did not resonate with me as a young black male. I wanted to be seen in a fun environment and something that I feel is more relatable to me. So, but the maturity part was just getting out of that comfort zone of being shy and being quiet. I was shy and quiet back in the day in grade school.
Same
yeah, we had you talk about it. Yeah, we had you talk about it on the mental space. It's just
you look at me like you don't believe it. I don't believe that. Forget y'all, man. TR tap in. TR tap in.
He came out the room talking.
Yeah. I was shy, quiet. Anybody that knows Sean Garvin or knows Sean Garvey knows that I was just that quiet kid in grade school. I was somewhat of an outcast. I wasn't really in the in crowd, in the popular crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was, I guess, along with that came fear. The fear of being rejected, the fear of being laughed at, the fear of thinking that you're not good enough to be in that particular place. You could be thinking like, man, I'm going to kill it. I'm going to kill it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show everybody that a star is born. But then it's something about getting on that stage in front of 20 people, 50 people or more, and that stage fright kicks in. And you be like, you know what? On second thought, I'm good. I'm good. But the maturity kicked in later on, and it just broadened my mind up to know that I don't have to fear. I don't have to put myself in a position and care about what other people think of me.
Okay.
You know, I can be vulnerable enough to really express myself the way I want to. And whoever can resonate with it can. If they don't, then they have to understand it.
Huey, I guess I'm gonna ask you the same question, man. Like, how did you? Because everybody in the room saying they used to be shy.
Yeah.
You know, so we could akin that to anxiety, right?
Yeah.
So, Huey, how did you? Where was your defining moment?
Social anxiety.
Definitely anxiety. You know how like you're in school and then it's your turn to read or something like that.
Yeah.
Even though I know how to read, it's like, damn, I just don't want to do it. And when I started off in like elementary, I started off with like speech impediment at first too. So that in my back of my head, I'm like, what if I start reading, talking or something? And then I started, the speech impediment started coming out, something like that.
Yeah.
Then after a while, I just didn't really want to like talk like that. But after a while, when I got into music, having performed in front of people, and that just opened the door. Like,
yeah, but you had to get on the stage. Like, was it stage fright? Was it because you had to record the music? You had to get in the studio. You had to go through all these walls, right?
Even the studio was scared. Like, you see, this might be my paper, and I would do like this. I couldn't even read my words because I was so everybody looking at me, and I'm like, you can hear the paper, and like, hey, I'm like. And I don't know, it was like anxiety, like, I'm gonna mess up, or I gotta get these words. I want to say it right.
Right.
And after a while, just doing it so much, it was easy.
So it's repetition for you.
Then just get in the film, then just keep doing it. After a while, just like, oh, it's easy.
And you know what, like, man, one of the things, man, dealing with that social anxiety and us dealing with speech impediments and being an outcast and stuff, one of the most nerve-wracking moments that I know we all could attest to as men was just asking a girl out,
Oh yeah,
just approaching her, and then you about to open your mouth, you're like,
do you have the time?
Exactly, man. So that's like one thing, I definitely want to highlight with us, man. Like, we all was quiet, but we all had to make a shift, which is highly motivational. And we all had to manage that type of anxiety, that type of speech impediment. We had to do more work than the regular Joe.
Yeah.
Who didn't have that. And now look at where we're at now. Standing in front of stages, having radio shows, talking with people of high caliber, being able to motivate, being able to talk to kids, being able to be out in the community. You know what I'm saying? So, like, hey, one thing I definitely want to highlight is when you're dealing with that social anxiety, I want y'all to know that you can pull through that.
Yeah.
You can pull through that. It takes the practice. It takes what Huey said with, journaling and repetition. It takes what Sean said, being able to write out your thoughts, think clearly. It takes what Dylan said, pushing through it, having that perseverance.
Yeah.
So, hey, we all have that power.
Yeah.
So I like, when we made music, we would have to go to strangers and sell our CDs. So that was more repetition too. Like,
oh, that was you. I said I wasn't gonna buy.
Yeah, go to the gas station and you pull up back then you had the CDs. And I'm the one like, hey man, check this out, man. Tell me what you think of. Like, so I had to be able to keep doing that. And after a while, it's like, oh, you talk to anybody, like marketing, sales. I can talk to anybody now.
Hey.
Then I was just like, just nervous. Yeah. But I did want to ask you, who influenced you to be a mental health advocate?
Life actually influenced me. Life, going back to 2020, I thought that 2020 was going to be one of my best years, especially when I was with the love of my life. at that time. And so she became even much more of a big support system for me months after I lost my grandmother to natural causes and Alzheimer's. And then that same month in January was a very, very bittersweet month for me in 2020 because that's the month of my birthday. And that is the same month in 2020 when not only I lost my grandmother, but I lost my friend's signature phrase to stage 4 cancer in 20. And she was a big part of the other show that I do called the Beat Break Morning Show. And so, months later, still in that place of being socially distant from your romantic partner, it was something that she said during a recording of one of our pre-tape episodes of the morning show. And we had a very uncomfortable conversation about some things to where she told me that she couldn't do it anymore. And making the long story short, we went through the phases of coming out of a romantic relationship and learning to be friends again and going through the stuff together. And then it came time when she came to my apartment one day and told me that she wasn't ready to be in a relationship with me. And after all this time, I thought that we were on the verge of getting back together. And just looking back at that part, with her being the heartbeat to me, I felt like after she broke it off with me and moved on to do what I imagine great things, a piece of me died. A part of me died. And I started having suicidal thoughts of taking my own life. We've all heard stories about whether a person had suicidal thoughts or have taken their own life because they came out of a relationship or they came out of a marriage that didn't go right and they couldn't live without that person. So they decided to take their own life, and I went through it mentally. There were days where I couldn't eat. There were days where I felt so alone, very isolated. And it's very interesting that, a guy like myself being in radio and I have all these connections to celebrities and to public figures and to people in the radio industry, and you're alone. Like, really, Sean? But at the end of the day, these people, these important people that you see on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, they got a home to go to. They got a family to go to. They got prior engagements and obligations. And me, at that time, it was going to work, going to go eat, and then going back home and doing it all over again the next day. So it's like, dang, I can't do the things that I was so used to doing with that person because she decided to move on without me. So to bring it back home, of course, like I said, going back to social media and pouring all of my pain on social media and being very vulnerable and candid about what I've been going through. I had people hit me up saying, "Hey, Sean, look, you need to talk to this therapist. This therapist's name is blah, blah, blah. You need to go seek my therapist." I went through 3 therapists the following year. I couldn't limit myself to just one. I talked to 3 therapists to get different perspectives. And part of that did help me, along with just, like you said, like I said earlier, getting through it, having to get off the couch, get out of bed, and just act as if it didn't happen yesterday. But still, you hiding that all in internally, and that eats you up. So I said to myself that there's got to be something that I can do to not only help myself, but to also help other people as well. And being in the industry that I'm in both radio and TV, I just kept getting news stories about people dealing with some form of mental illness and hearing radio interviews and podcasts of well-known figures and influencers talking about their own personal mental health. So I just went to my boss, of course, shouts to Joyce Littell, the aka Miss Quiet Storm of V103.
Joyce Littell.
Who, yeah, Joyce
Yes.
Littell. Yeah, I just went to her and said, hey, I think WAOK needs to have a show on mental health. We so used to highlighting political stories on the air on a iconic talk radio station that has been around for so many years. And with the climate that we're in right now, with people, especially people of color like us here in the room, dealing with a form of mental health, we need to have a show on WLK that focuses on mental health. And without any hesitation or without that whole industry talk saying, well, let me think about it, I'll get back with you on that. She immediately said yes. Yes, put it in a proposal. And so it took a couple of months and came the mental space in February of 2022. So we're talking about a year since the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. Congrats,
brother.
Thank you.
Congrats,
yeah.
bro.
How does it feel now to have your voice actually heard in that space? When the conversation was, we don't hear it,
right?
Because you're getting heard on radio, and you could be the voice of that, especially in Atlanta.
It feels both overwhelming and rewarding at the same time, because it's overwhelming due to the fact that we're working under limited staff. To be very transparent with you, so we don't have when I say we, I'm talking about the mental space only. We don't have a big team to really go and schedule everything and to book everybody. It's me and Simone that's doing most of the work, or all of the work. Now, I don't want to just say most, but all of the work, right? So it can be very overwhelming at times, but it's rewarding because this is the first show on mental health to be on terrestrial radio. And, our parent company, Odyssey, they have this initiative called I'm Listening, where once a year they do a radio cast, a special radio cast with Carson Daly. Everybody know who Carson Daly is. That brings on medical professionals and people of influence to share stories and testimonial stories about their own mental health and the importance of having conversations about it. So to have a show under that particular umbrella and to be the first radio show, not just only in Atlanta and Georgia or in the southeastern region, but in the country, to have a black man, an African-American man, to curate a show on terrestrial radio, not internet. I mean, of course, people can hear us around the world, but to be on terrestrial radio, it is so rewarding. And to give you all an exclusive, I really didn't want to host the show. I just wanted to executive produce it because I know plenty of people that could have came and hosted the show once a week, and I would just be the guy behind the scenes producing it. There were a few people that I had in mind that I said, oh, you know what, this person and that person would be so good to host the mental space. But I want people to look at it from not only a black male's point of view, but from a black person's point of view when it comes to mental health. And, it has caught the attention and the ears of so many people. And I'm just like, man, like every time I go back and every time I go back and listen to myself, I'd be like, man, Sean, you know how many lives you have touched already thus far?
Yes.
Rewarding,
I had a woman on the show recently who said to me afterwards, like, Sean, going back and listening to the show and being on it, it made me think twice about going to therapy. We had someone who called in on the show. Actually, he's checking in right now. He called in on the show, and he even shared with us that he had suicidal thoughts about taking his own life. And so now, fortunately, he's still living, but because of that show and that show alone, that show saved him from taking his own life. So, it goes to show you that in radio, the power of the airwaves, like, you don't know how many lives you have touched by doing a show that centers around mental health, and by bringing on the type of people that came on the show, provided information, shared stories, and just tell their own story and let it be a vessel to somebody else. I mean, I've had specialty shows. The first person in Atlanta radio to do the Mike Roberts and Carol Blackman reunion on WLK. Had Portia Bruner on, Monica Pearson on, Rashawn Ali, and DJ Toon, Eric Roberson. I can go on and on and on. Dwelle. And Ebony K. Williams. So many people who came on the show in almost 2 years now, and it's just I'm looking forward to the next go around for this show.
Yeah. That's some motivational shit right
that's
there,
motivational
bro.
Shit.
That's some motivational shit, man. Hey, let's get it, man. Yo, that's why y'all gotta subscribe to the vibe, man. Y'all gotta subscribe to the vibe with Sean Garvey, man. Speaking of another person that's doing some motivational shit, bro. My brother Huey right here, man. My brother been grinding. My brother been going to LA. My brother been networking. My brother been connected, and he has been creating and crafting a movie. And we want to showcase a clip and get his info on it about mental health, man. Let's get it.
It's still in the editing process, but I just grabbed a little clip just to.
Pops, if you actually came to my games, you would know I'm the best player on the team.
After all these years, you still delusional, son. I ain't gonna tell you no more. Get out the way.
You know, Mom always believed in me.
And where's your mother now?
Man!
Are you... Go to your room before I knock you out, boy.
It's the name of the movie, brother. Basketball and Trauma.
Basketball and Trauma.
Wow.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. That's just a short clip. It is gonna be a short film, but it's really about a family. Before that clip, they were like a happy family, and they all was into basketball. They was training him up to play basketball and everything, but the mother dies. So 10 years later, the clip you just seen is 10 years later after everything's falling apart. Like, they both miss their mothers, but they take it out on each other kind of, and he still wants to play basketball in his mother's name, but the father doesn't really want to care about supporting it because it brings up trauma from the mother. So eventually they just, keep getting in bad space. He doesn't get into the school, to college and all that, and eventually he commits suicide at the end. So, but it's really showing about like keeping relationships.
I didn't want to know the end, bro.
Oh, dang. Don't spoil it. I spoiled it.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
Yeah, we gonna hear
I did spoil it.
Cut.
Cut. Director's cut.
I gotta direct the director.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, it might. I don't want to. You never know.
Yeah. Okay. Talk about the actors, man, and how you gathered the cast.
I worked on set, so I connected with a couple people from set, stayed in contact with them, and then when I seen that they fit the description and put together like a family that would seem like they're a family, and it does a lot of theater, and they up and coming and established, and they fit the role real good. So I used them, and I want them to display the emotion of, you know, trauma and father and son. I felt like that was a good match because I seen them other things together, and I reached out to them. And at that time, you know, there's a strike going on, so a lot of people was like, "All right, let's do it." Like, you know, I'm not working really, so let's do it.
When you dropping it? When is it dropping?
It got pushed back a little bit because I do some things editing, so
Okay.
like February 1st.
Okay, all right.
First, we're gonna have it all short film. We'll do a premiere. Y'all welcome to come.
Of course,
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the ending may be different then because we're still editing. So.
Yeah, we got a different ending.
But yeah, and you can look at it in different ways. From some people get from sports, playing sports, they don't get what they wanted to be. They get, you know, depressed on that angle too. And some people, and just, you know, some people you're missing your parents, so you're depressed too. So it's like that's what the film is about, showing about different angles of stuff that can cause depression.
Mm-hmm.
brother, man, that clip so far, man, powerful.
Yeah,
it's something that needs to be showcased, man. I like how you combine sports and mental health with that too.
Yeah,
And I like the dynamic. The father is dealing. The father is grieving.
Right.
The son is grieving.
Right.
The father, every time he sees the son, you know, because of the mother being very interactive in the son in the basketball career, the father gets triggered.
Yeah.
You know, and then he doesn't convey his feelings in the most positive way.
Right.
And the son gets triggered. And from the son, he looks like a teenager. So this is a very fundamental point that he's looking towards his father. Like, so, yo, man, that film, just I could break this down.
Yeah, you are though.
Yeah.
You really are.
Yeah, I can really break it down. And it's like, it's powerful in its reality, brother.
Yeah.
Like, man, that's a powerful film, brother, man. That man, I look forward to seeing that whole project, man. Yo, I'm hype. I'm excited for it, bro. Like, yo, that's some motivational shit right there, man. Yeah, bro, for real.
Thank you, man.
For real, man.
That's on working, man, nonstop.
Nonstop.
Thank you, man. Actually, when the actor, the father, his
Yeah.
name Jay Jones. He does he's in a lot of stuff and everything.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I've seen him before. Jay Jones. Yeah. He actually, when I gave him the first script because we had to change a little bit. I didn't know that he actually his son actually committed suicide or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know once I gave him the script, and when he got it back, he was like, "No, this is powerful. We're gonna do this." And then he shared the story, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't, you know." But he gave me insight too, because how I had it the first time, it was more of just showing the father kind of mean, you know. But he was like, "Don't do that because you need to show, like, you know, black men need to see why he was doing it. Don't just act like he don't show the Hollywood already has that, you know, angry black man. So just show, you know, he's hurting. That's why he acting like that." So I had to. He gave me that advice on it.
I want to give you credit for giving a different view of us as black men. You know, a lot of times, and this type of movie, by the way, because we're this is where we talk about true black media. We are pigeonholed into certain visions, talking about what you're saying, Sean, about the media and the impressions that we have on media. The images that we give are really important because none of these movies even talk about the bonds of father and son.
Exactly.
Really, they don't. Look, the last movie I saw with a real true father and son bond was Boys in the Hood, Furious Styles, and Trey. And I was just watching that the other day, man. Like, that was a true, you know, circling back to that, like, I guess talking about the suicidal narrative. I had to deal with that issue with my son, who did not, but he was talking about. So imagine on it was my birthday. I'm home last year. I got all of my friends from school that I grew up with that I've known since like third, fourth, fifth grade. We all just having a outstanding, proud moment. You know, on my birthday, I'm celebrating, and my son was just dealing with a breakup with a girlfriend, and he wasn't in a good space. So I said, "Well, son, come on out with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have you around your uncles and your aunts and everybody. We gonna sell." And his head was just in the wrong space, and I had to sit there on the beach, right there by the water, with my son for like 2 hours, and just make sure he was good. And that actually, you know, me and him has always been close, but I realized I had to have my finger on him a little more. with the concerning part, not just the disciplinary part, the guidance part of life. And I think a lot of that gets missed. I think I was saying that earlier. Like, we talk about the problems, let's talk about the resolutions. You know, like, these moments take people just constantly being there and showing concern. Because from what I hear, nobody cares, nobody cares, nobody cares, nobody cares. We have to find that I do care bridge. Yeah. I deal with that. Shout out to my guy Nemesis and the Soldier 23 Project. You was talking earlier, Sean, about PTSD. That's the part of the program that I'm with that speaks on how to help people through, you know, the suicidal tendencies that we do have through our talents, through focusing on what we do. You know, I was never in a suicidal space, but I was I was down on myself at times, and I had to find my way out of that. I used certain talents that I had. I started working out more. I started focusing on doing things music wise just to help direct and guide me. And I think a lot of people miss that part. They just tell people what they need to be, instead of guiding people through those moments. So,
and you know, like, you know, I dealt with the battle of suicide as well too. But recently, one of the young men, one of the children I counseled, the mother told me that, hey, and I just want to say thank you, my son, because her son, just real short, was having suicidal ideations, wasn't having confidence. His father wasn't active in his life, and she told me that his confidence gotten a lot better. He is loving himself a lot better, and I just want to say thank you. And it made me really realize that, you know, this battle with suicide, you know, suicide has increased a lot during our age, and it takes us men right here, Huey, Sean, Dylan, me included, sharing our stories, putting light, shining the light on it, help building up the self-esteem, the characters of these youth, the self-love, the value, you know. And just picking you back to your film, brother, I feel like your film is, no, I don't feel, I know your film is going to help shine that light and help bring that awareness. That way it isn't such a, because it's still a taboo topic in the Black community. It's still a taboo topic in the Black community. Oh, we don't like to talk about it. When we do talk about it, we shun it away like, oh, you're just being weak. But we need to give space and give healing, give words of encouragement, give motivation, give love, because that's the ultimate weapon against suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mr. Sean, what we got coming up in your world? I know you're taking a break, brother, but I do know this. This space that we operate in, don't, you know, that phone's still gonna ring, brother.
It's still the emails are gonna still.
Got two of them.
Listen, the emails.
He got two phones, talking to everybody on phone, talking about the break that he gonna take. Come on, man. Come on. He ain't even put the phones down. Come on, man.
Listen. The email's gonna still keep coming. The phone's gonna still keep ringing, but they know what it is. Well, to answer your question, the mental space, of course, just to let your viewers and listeners know, the mental space, I'm on Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are actually syndicated, so we're not just only on 1380 WLK, that's News and Talk 1380 WLK, but the show is also on the Flow Television Network. Shouts to Stephanie Starworth for being the pioneer behind that. We're also on YouTube. Just follow us at Beat Break Radio on YouTube. I do have my own online radio station. Of course, it's 87 FM, 101 The Vibe FM. So we do play archive shows of the mental space on 87, 101 The Vibe FM as well. So we're everywhere on cyberspace in the internet world. And outside of that, really quick, the Beat Break Morning Show, also on 87, 101 The Vibe FM. with my co-host DJ Rollum. Shout out to DJ Rollum. Hold it down, man. Prayers go out to DJ Rollum and his family while his mother is dealing with a form of dementia. But you can check us out, a Beat Break Morning Show. Let's see what else I got. I got Soul Dates Live, which will be incorporated into the Beat Break Morning Show by the beginning of the new year. That's a dating show, by the way, too.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
In Atlanta?
On that page.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
have you had any? I mean, how has the response been from that?
It's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. People have been enjoying it. It's a dating show where we combine music and personal chemistry together to match people up based on their music compatibility and personal chemistry. Yep.
Music compatibility is real smart when it comes to
right. It's its own show, but it's going to be incorporated into the Beat Break Morning Show by the beginning of next year. And speaking of next year, I got my new Roku TV channel, Honey.
Honey coming up. Yeah.
Honey. Yep. Thank you.
I was just about to mention that.
Yeah. The beginning of 2024, January 2024. Got some more projects, man. I'm in the spoken word arena, so I'm planning on releasing 2 spoken word projects in 2024. A Poet Found Dead is still up on my other website, SeanGarveyOnline.com. Producing other radio shows. People, of course, know me on Sundays. Definitely Robert Patillo, People, Passion, and Politics. I produce his show on Sundays on WLK. Also, I'm going to be one of the red carpet correspondents at the upcoming screening of the new BET Plus premiere movie called It's All Worth It. Did I say it right? I got to say it right. It's All Worth It. It's a new BET Plus movie that's getting ready to come out, but they're going to be doing a private screening of it. So I'm going to be on the red carpet along with DJ Miss Eclectic. Shout out to DJ Miss Eclectic. So we got that coming up by the end of this week. And man, I just got so much under Reach One Communications. That's my company. That's my brand, Reach One Communications. For all things radio, TV, podcasts. I also work behind the scenes with Amazon Prime events. Man, but most importantly is definitely Unemployment Check season 1 going to be coming out later in 2024 around the election time. Man, I got so many projects, man. Just so many. I definitely got to see his movie though. Definitely got to see this movie, but
come to premiere.
Yeah, but reachonenetwork.tv is the website for everything, and social media, Sean Garvey ATL on Instagram, Sean Garvey on Facebook. You see what I'm doing out here, but most importantly is the mental space. And making sure that I'm doing my due diligence to helping people get to that safe space, to get to that healthy mental space, and getting people the information that they need to help with their mental health.
What do y'all feel like is a healthy mental space?
Ooh. Andre 3000's album.
Yes.
Hey man, that album it makes me tear up. It makes me happy, makes me smile.
Right.
But also just being out in nature near water, man. That's mine. That always helped me.
Yeah.
Yo, like, what about you, darling? Oh, hold on. Hold on. Yeah.
I reeled it in. To me, a healthy mental space is really within yourself, man. I think the problem is, going back to what we always talk about, social media, don't worry about the next person. What's your space is your space. What's your moment is your moment. Whatever they got going over here, that has nothing to do with you. Conversation, like I said, with my son, you know what I'm saying? He showed the house that him and his mama moving into, and I said, he said, Pop, that's a little bit of hate. I said, son, I ain't hating on your mama house. That's her space. I focus on my space. You know, I told him I didn't really, you know, even back in the day, watch MTV Cribs because that didn't have anything to do with my world. I didn't watch Pimp Your Ride. That didn't have nothing to do with my world, you know. So I focused on everything that I needed to do for my space. You know what I'm saying? I looked at other people maybe as motivation, not even comparison or competition. I'm looking at my brother TR open up his clothing stores and he's getting his house. And I'm looking at my other brother Mike G, who got custody of his sons and he's getting them through school, you know, as a single parent father, making it happen. I'm looking at those reasons for motivation, not competition. Not saying that they're doing good and I'm doing horrible. Well, what do I got to do to prop myself up to that level to doing it like they're doing it? I think that's the problem. People look at those as I'm failing. No, it's not really your failing. You're on your own path. So that's what I look at where I'm at to get better. So I work out. I haven't worked out in a year, but I got to get back to it. I just focus on my space.
And you also get on MySpace.
And I know that was there was a lot going on MySpace now. That helped me out too. You know what I'm saying? MySpace and Black Panther helped me out.
Oh, did I just say that?
Oh man.
Yeah, I was looking at something that said that in the Black community is not a lot of therapists that represent us, and I just really want to get y'all take on it real quick. You know?
There's not. You said there's not a lot of therapists.
I seen somebody was speaking on a video. It's not facts for sure.
Right.
Somebody was talking about on a video I watched the other day. It was like they feel like it's not a lot that represent for what we're going through or what that some
meaning that they aren't speaking out or
they're not a lot of practice. There's not a lot of them. Compared,
we're not taught that. We're taught to be athletes and rappers and things like that nature.
There's more reasons why you need to watch and listen to the mental space.
Oh, got him.
Yes. I mean, because I don't know what that person tend to watch or what they are consuming or what have you, but we have had so many therapists, so many life coaches, psychiatrists, you name it, come on the show, and most of them are African American, men and women. And I think it's because when you think of therapists, the first person you think of in the Black community that's on a celebrity level is Ayanna Vincent.
Yeah.
I'm like, Ayana's not the only one, y'all. You know, Ayanna's not the only one. Yeah. It's many people who don't want that shine, don't want that type of media attention. But at the same time, these are professional people, licensed people that's been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years or more. Right. And so if you want to know who they are, you tune in and watch The Mental Space on Wednesday nights from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that's Eastern Standard Time, just in case you're watching or listening to the show in a different time zone. But there's so many. There's so many Black therapists and psychiatrists and life coaches, you name it. You may not just hear them on a major level, but there's many of them that just like there are plenty of Black male organizations that and support groups, especially here in Atlanta and other places that help bring Black men in to talk about whatever they're facing. And the people that I have brought on the show over the past couple of months thus far, I did not know that these organizations exist. So, you know, I mean, you know, it's one thing to Google because we live in an internet world now where you can just Google to see where these Black therapists are and where these Black mental health advocates are. But you tune into shows like this, motivational shit. You tune into shows like The Mental Space, and you tune into other content that's not only promoting positivity, but they're also promoting people that specialize in their field to help other people. So, you know, just tune in and watch. You may learn something.
Exactly. And with that said, what I think, of course,
you know,
I
you know what I say. What you
I'm around. I'm around all of them in my field as a certified peer specialist. So, of course. But just to wrap up the show, man, we had an amazing show. I want to say a few words. You know, definitely shout outs to Sean Garvey, the Mental Space, for coming in. Director Huey G, man, amazing movie. Dylan Yale from the Mail Review. And viewers that's tuning in. Health is wealth, but I'll let you decide if that's important for yourself. Because you got to focus on your mind space, on your mental space. You have to focus on the strength of your mind. Now, you could either neglect it or you could protect it. By tapping into the powers of these shows, these conversations that will build you, these talks that will motivate you, these lessons that will heal you. But the question is up to you, because health is wealth. But I'll let you decide if that's important for yourself, because you have to take the initiative. You have to take the initiative to heal, to grow, to elevate, because the power is inside of you. Don't give all your power to the label of depression, to the label of schizophrenia, to the label of stress. Know that God is inside of you and God is energizing you, giving you that capability, giving you that motivation, and taking you on a train of elevation for you to rise beyond all of the devastation, because the power is inside of you. So once again, health is wealth, but I'll let you decide if that's important for yourself. Hey, let's get it.
Hey.
And tap in. Hey.